अस्सलाम नाज़रीन, आपको खुशामदीद कहते हैं प्रोग्राम व्यू पॉइंट विद सऊद ज़फर में। हम अक्सर अपने प्रोग्राम में ऐसी कामयाब शख्सियात को मदू करते हैं जिन्होंने अमली ज़िंदगी में कुछ ना कुछ ऐसे काम किए हैं जिनसे अवाम नास को फ़ायदा पहुंचा हो। आज भी हमने जिनको दावत दी है अपने स्टूडियोज़ में, वो न सिर्फ एक हमा जहत शख्सियत हैं बल्कि फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्री और हाउसिंग मार्केट में एक वसी तजर्बा रखते हैं। वेलकम करते हैं और गुफ्तगू का आगाज़ करते हैं आसिफ खान साहब से। अस्सलाम वालेकुम आसिफ साहब।
वालेकुम सलाम।
कैसे हैं आप? ठीक ठाक हैं?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
सबसे पहले तो हमें ये बताइए, हमने जब आपका तारुफ पढ़ा, जो आपने इंट्रोडक्शन हमें भेजा था अपना, उसमें एक चीज़ लिखी हुई थी और आपको वैसे भी जो आपके हल्का अहबाब हैं, जो दोस्त यार हैं, जो आपके साथ बिजनेस में इन्वॉल्व हैं, वो जानते हैं आपको एक सोशल, एक सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर और एक विजनरी के तौर पे। सो ये हमारे नाज़रीन की समझ के लिए बताइए कि सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर क्या चीज़ होती है? हाउ वुड यू describe it yourself?
So, it's a good question because people label me as that, but I think main reason people suggest that is really in the last 25 years I've been on Bay Street or even in the real estate is really starting businesses. I grew up in a business-oriented family since we were kids, and one of the blessings that I think we received was failures early in life.
Okay.
So
and failures teach you.
And failures. We were kids, and in our family businesses, we had a little bit of success, but we also had failures. Right. So this really taught me and my family the ability to take risk.
Okay.
Because हमने देखा था अपने घर में भी अम्मी पापा रिस्क लेते थे, मगर चला नहीं चला, मगर वो they launched established the first halal fried chicken store.
And this was
this is back in the mid-90s.
Oh.
So it was maybe before its time. Then later everything else came.
Yeah.
But it was a vision that my dad had, and at the same time, it was the first of its kind in Ontario, at least that we were aware of. And although early success was there, but ultimately it wasn't successful. So we went through that. So for me, taking the opportunity, seeking out what the gap is in the market, understanding what's needed, and taking opportunities. So it can be multiple businesses at the same time, or it could be one business that you start off and it continues to grow. So for me, over the course of my life, I did spend time with large institutions like CIBC and Dundee and these other ones, but really my spirit of entrepreneurialism was always there to take the risk. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I'm going to keep trying.
Okay.
And repeatedly. So I too,
and jump on to the next one.
Yeah, jump on, but see the exit strategies for these. But I was okay if it didn't work. I'm going to do my best, work hard, with high degree of integrity and honesty. And sometimes businesses, because the market conditions don't work, but I wasn't afraid of losing, but starting up again. Right. So this was really my career path, was to continue, and it's really a family trait for us. My wife the same. She runs a business, and so we live a business life, and alhamdulillah, things have been going well for us.
So this all comes from the family.
It really comes from the heritage that certainly we grew up with. My wife grew up in a business environment. Same thing with me, business environment. Successes and failures, they come hand in hand. The key is when you fall, don't stay on the ground. Just get up and fix it and move on.
ज़बरदस्त। ये बताइए कि 25 साल का आपने जिक्र किया है, इस पर मुहित आपका जो कैपिटल एंड फाइनेंशियल मार्केट्स का तजुर्बा, उसका एक्सपीरियंस, उसके बाद आपने रियल एस्टेट डेवलपमेंट में पिछले कोई 20 साल आपका कैपिटल एंड फाइनेंशियल मार्केट, जो बे स्ट्रीट आपने जिक्र किया, एंड देन 7 to 10 years पे आपका रियल एस्टेट डेवलपमेंट। सो हाउ डिड यू फाइंड दिस शिफ्ट, और ये स्विच क्यों और कैसे, अगर हम जानना चाहें?
Yeah, sure. I mean, 100%. One answer is really a personal one. I spent my career early days on Bay Street, and in the last, I would say, and I had a lot of success on Bay Street. Building asset management companies. One in particular, we started at zero in assets. We built it to $1.5 billion in assets and sold it. Repeated again. So I've had that experience, but really it eats away at you. Bay Street is highly competitive business and my nature and my character to be competitive.
So Wall Street in New York and Bay Street.
Yeah, it's a hand in hand. Like you either you win or you lose. There's no middle. So you better win or you better not stay there. So that also has a toll on your family life.
Okay.
Right. So for me, as my young family was growing, I really needed to spend more time with family, and at the same time, I saw the trend in the marketplace. On Bay Street, the number of participants and number of players were shrinking. Okay. It was tightening up. The banks and large financial institutions were controlling most of the capital movement. So as smaller players, it was challenging, more difficult. The cost of doing business was far greater than the outcome. Okay. So over the years, we transitioned. I exited and sold the asset management business. I still have interest there, but really my passion became real estate. And the gap really was driven by some of my old Bay Street friends. Back in the day, I started the first Shariah Compliant fund in Canada. It was a unique strategy at the time in the late 90s.
Must have been the first in Canada?
It was the first public offering in Canada. It took a lot of time to get it off the ground. Part of it was the education and what it is, what makes a traditional, conventional fund and how do you convert that into a Sharia or halal fund. Right. So in real estate, and as we all know, is heavily involved in, which involves mortgages and interest. So, with the background with financial market and capital markets, any business you go into, you have to be very prudent. You have to really understand the spreadsheet. You have to understand the capital, the cost of capital, what it takes. A product is a product, whether it's a real estate or grocery store or halal store.
Same.
Right? Yeah, no. So it was an easier transition going backwards from a strong capacity that my team has in the financial markets to structure real estate investments.
Right.
So, and at the same time, take on the opportunity of the growth. When you looked at the population growth in Canada, specifically in Southern Ontario,
right,
we recognize this is not a blip, this is not a historical, it's a history mein ye hota hai ki you follow the history and every 10 years the cycle repeats itself.
Sahi baat.
But ye to nahi hai ki people are leaving Canada every 10 years.
Balki influx hai.
लोग तो आ रहे हैं ना.
आ रहे हैं.
So in this case, in real estate, ये नहीं है कि 10 साल बाद कम आ जाएगा. लोग थोड़ी आते हैं, है ना? So in this way, you know the long-term growth, especially with the government's announcement of continuing the population growth in Canada, there are a lot of people coming into Canada with wealth. So they're buying, and so we saw that some time ago. We said, look, we're going to structure our products in a very efficient, compliant, regulatory way to bring and develop in the real estate.
Right.
So ये सब हम लोग and what you don't have, you hire. You know, the most important thing is to do it right. So transition wasn't that hard. It was really and our office, I didn't have to go downtown every day. That drive was killing me for an hour each way. So now I'm 5 minutes from home. And it was really important because I was able to spend more time with my family, with my daughter, meet for lunch, and do all those things that you want to do before they grow up and leave.
ठीक है. ज़्यादा जो कनाडा की पॉपुलेशन है उसकी कंसंट्रेशन बॉर्डर के जो यूएस कनाडा बॉर्डर है इसके साथ साथ ही है. बहुत सारा कनाडा का हिस्सा अभी भी खाली पड़ा हुआ है. So there is, you see big growth in housing industry as we just talked about. Influx in Canada every year. कितने सारे लोगों के लिए immigration की opportunities मिलती हैं and they come over here.
Yeah. Okay, you're absolutely right. The 100%. The population lives along from the border to call it 700-800 mile belt.
Yes.
Right, all across there because really that's the closest to movement of assets, goods and services to the U.S.
Right.
Our biggest trading partner is still the U.S.
So import export hoti hai.
Import export, but so if you're manufacturing in Thunder Bay, North Bay, the cost of movement is so expensive. So historically, that's where the population is self-established. When you look at the Canadian history, it was really Quebec, Eastern Ontario, and pockets across. So as the immigration really started 60, 70, 80 years ago in Canada, and it continues even greater degree now, you're seeing the biggest, growth places in Canada. Ontario still leads the way, right? So you have Alberta, which is, you can say is a commodity play. That province is, is going to go up and down with the resource sector, really the oil and gas.
Oil and gas की वजह से.
People move in, people move out, right? So that happens there. But even there, so you're starting to see growth outside of that, and the government there is doing a phenomenal job in bringing incentives for industries to come in. BC is very close to the Asian markets and population, so you see that phenomena continue to grow. The population growth and the need in Canada today is going to grow for another 1 million, 2 million, 2 million, 3 people in the next 7 to 10 years. Where do they all want to be? The history, the richness, ghar chahiye. And besides the ghar, they want the culture.
Exactly.
Right? I guess at Toronto mein hai, GT mein hai, you're getting, there's better and higher quality of life and safer quality of life than London, than New York, than Tokyo, any of those places, and with 25-30% less costs.
Okay.
Right?
As compared to
these places.
Okay.
So when people are coming in with money and they're seeing the houses they're buying for $2 million, $3 million, or a townhome is going for $1.5 million, these people are just moving from places they sold their bungalow or condo for $6-7 million, right?
Right.
So what's happening here is you're seeing a wealth creation that's taking place in hard assets, right? Everybody in the world, they want to own real estate. They own gold, they own real estate, and they play in the stock market, right? But stock market, it can come and go, right? Real estate is an anchor. Everybody wants to own real estate. And when you own it, and there's only so much, like you said earlier, everybody wants to be between the border and the 500-mile line there. So how much can you build in that, right? So, and at the same time have industries that you can work and live in. So for us, that was major factor in playing and participating in the Ontario growth, because what we're doing today is all in Ontario, and it's in the growth municipalities, right? So this is I'm not sure if I answered the question, but the growth in Canada continues. The population growth is really coming from places like India, China, Middle East, Eastern Europe, and people are coming with their wealth, and with this transfer of wealth from one country to another.
जहाँ आपने वेल्थ का जिक्र किया है उसमें थोड़ी देर पहले जो जिक्र हो रहा था हलाल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज का, तो उस पे मैं बात करना चाहूंगा, लेकिन एक ब्रेक ले लेते हैं. कन्वेंशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज और शरिया कंप्लायंट या हलाल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज में क्या फर्क होता है, ये जानेंगे आसिफ खान साहब से. आज हमारे प्रोग्राम में मधु हैं. अच्छी बातें हो रही हैं. एक ब्रेक लेते हैं, ब्रेक के बाद प्रोग्राम को दोबारा कंटिन्यू करेंगे. हमारे साथ रहिएगा. नाज़रीन, प्रोग्राम में आपको एक मरतबा फिर खुशामदीद कहते हैं. आज हमने प्रोग्राम में मदऊ किया है आसिफ खान साहब को, जो कि एक हमाजहत शख्सियत हैं. फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्री और रियल एस्टेट डेवलपमेंट में भी इन्होंने पिछले कुछ अरसे से कदम जमा रखे हैं और बड़ी अच्छी बातें हो रही हैं आज के प्रोग्राम में. आसिफ साहब, ब्रेक पर जाने से पहले हमने जिक्र किया था, जो उससे कुछ देर पहले बातचीत चल रही थी, हलाल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज, शरिया कंप्लायंट. आप जब फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्री, जब बे स्ट्रीट का आपने जिक्र किया, वहाँ पे अब कनाडा की अगर बात करें, यहाँ पे मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन का इन्फ्लक्स भी है ऑलरेडी यहाँ पे, और ये भी कहा जा रहा है कि अभी थोड़ी देर पहले आपने जिक्र किया था कि मोस्ट यानी ग्रोइंग पॉपुलेशन जो है वो मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन है विद इन कैनेडा। कन्वेंशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज और शरिया कंप्लाइंट इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज, इन दोनों में क्या फ़र्क है और किस तरह से मुस्लिम आबादी न सिर्फ कनाडा की बल्कि दुनिया भर की और गैर मुस्लिम आबादी भी इन चीज़ों से किस तरह से फ़ायदा उठा सकती है? काफ़ी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव सवाल कर लिया, लेकिन आपका जवाब
So, I mean, when you simplify everything, is really what people talk about today is ESG, sustainability, faith-based investing, but you know, the halal, Sharia investing goes back hundreds of years, right? And it's really designed for safety and preservation. So the key elements, there's two major areas when you look at halal investing when it goes into the public market, your stock market, really you have two different types of scenarios. One is a financial screening and one is a social. Social media, you should not invest in things that are harmful to society, such as investing in arms or military, alcohol, tobacco, and those type of things that you should.
This comes in Sharia compliance.
This is all part of. This is what you avoid in Sharia compliance.
Right.
And then there's the other general rule of thumb is that deleveraging. So, like most businesses or real estate, as we know, everything's about leverage, interest rate, mortgage, and what we try to do is avoid that. In the past, because of our background in the financial market, we have structured a number of Sharia compliant halal products, investment products, not only for international but also the Canadian audience. At one point years ago, we were involved with some of the high-profile NBA players who were also looking for halal investment opportunities. So we've done a number of these things, and what we saw the gap in Canada was that, especially in the fast-growing, rapidly growing real estate sector, was how do we protect people effectively from themselves. Right. So one way, especially during the COVID period, post-COVID, rising interest rate environment, a lot of developers, experienced professionals in the real estate market were caught off guard. Right. So this is one of the areas that I often talk about is that with Verona Real Estate Group, because we started out Sharia compliant, we remained Sharia compliant, which meant that the assets that we owned there was no interest related matters. We did not mortgage any properties. We did not borrow to purchase a property. So this allowed us to be protected and weather the storm of the COVID that really affected a lot of businesses around the world and in Canada. And truly, there is potentially one or two halal businesses available for Muslim investors to invest in. There's this stock market fund that's been highly successful in Canada over the years. It continues to do well, but that was the only opportunity available. And for most investors who want to save and instead of putting money in their bank as earning no growth, they're able to invest with our real estate development and construction projects and be able to have their money grow more sustainable.
So इसमें non-Muslim community किस तरह से involve हो सकती है, वो किस तरह से फायदा उठा सकती है इन सारी चीजों में?
So there's this one product that we're involved in. It's called the Falcon Real Estate Trust. The fund manager is based out of Vancouver, QS Investment Management. We're working with them. And this product is available through financial advisors across the country other than Quebec. So Muslim investors that are in BC or PEI, certainly in Ontario, they'd like to buy this in their RSP and their TSFA and feel like, okay, they're not only faith-based investing, but also growing their money in their real estate capacity. Non-Muslim investors do the same because this product looks like a conventional product. It has all the bells and whistles. It has everything that conventional funds require. So at the end of the day, it becomes about performance.
बट एथिकल जो बाउंड्रीज हैं जो शरिया कंप्लायंस में आती हैं वो उनको अट्रैक्ट करती हैं.
For some, they like the high leverage.
Okay.
They like it when it's working for them.
Okay.
And they don't like it when it's not working.
Obviously.
So today, in the rising interest rate environment, they don't like it, right?
Obviously.
Because they're off. So when we tell them that, look, you can invest in this and you can have, first and foremost, this safety of your capital. We're not leveraging it.
Right.
So you have the stability, you have the anchor in your retirement accounts or in your investment accounts. They like the fact that, especially with the growth in socially responsible investing and ESG, they like all those criteria.
Right.
So more and more people are looking at Shariah compliant and halal investments as the real and the true way of investing, because in a lot of products that they will invest in that's listed on the New York Stock Exchange, Toronto Stock Exchange, you can't really get the information about those. A lot of the REITs that are listed are highly, highly leveraged. It's like a ticking time bomb. You don't know how much leverage is involved in underlying those,
Exactly.
whether it's commercial real estate or residential REIT. In this type of product, you can drive up to where the investment opportunity is, where the project is, where we're building, and look at it and see it and feel good, physically see it, right? And know that, okay, this product is not leveraged, it's paid up, is being developed. So you can actually feel good. And Muslims also feel good about that. They like the fact that we're following the social aspect of investing, sustainable, affordable. We're also building a retirement community which is affordable and sustainable. More and more we get asked to build specific communities for Muslim community, and for a certain segment of the population.
Good.
So these are things that people say, we want to invest, and then you build it for us, right? But we want to keep it halal. We don't want to leverage. We don't want to use the interest. So, so this goes both ways. When the product is good and it's providing a strong balance sheet, and it's performing, so at the end of the day, this is where you want to invest. It doesn't matter which label it has, whether it's halal or non-halal, people will be attracted to it. It's the added benefit, the extra work we've done on the halal side is a good thing, right, for our community. But, we position the product as good for everybody.
रियल एस्टेट की बात हो रही है तो कनाडा में अगर हम बात करें रियल एस्टेट डेवलपमेंट, इसका लॉन्ग टर्म आउटलुक आपकी नज़र में क्या है?
ठीक है, लॉन्ग टर्म आउटलुक is really geographic driven. I know Canada is so vast and so big, and it has various sectors and industries across the country.
Not just based on the influx that is coming in
it's
Canada every year.
Yeah, I mean, so when you look at the long-term general Canadian growth, population growth is good, it's positive. We're seeing people and population movement from the U.S. to Canada, right? The old adage that when people check the boxes of Canada, why move to Canada, and the wealthy people around the world are sending their kids to universities in Canada, they're sending for health and for education and quality, all those things that we talked about. This is what's driving the growth. And Canada continues to grow in population, and we're continuing to bring that and wealth into it because we do have an issue of aging population, right? We need to replenish that. So this is why the government was smart and the Ontario government was smart to continue that growth, because we need to replenish human capital. We need to bring them in. To do that, you need to bring housing. People got to live, right? And more importantly, affordable and rental, because people are not everybody's buying $2 million houses. So this is what we're involved in, working hand in hand with municipalities to bring affordable and rental home communities. Not in GTA, outside of GTA, because the flow from the GTA is going into the neighboring and sometimes further away municipalities, and that's their draw of the luck. They're happy because the population growth is happening, right? And they too are now bringing industries, right? Reason why people want to live there and work there, right? So they're bringing incentives.
हर कोई यही चाहता है कि जहां वो रहे उससे ज्यादा दूर नहीं, 10 मिनट की, 1 घंटे की या आधे घंटे की ड्राइव पे वो
ड्राइव पर है, काम भी वही है, खाना पीना भी वही है,
स्कूल भी वही है,
स्कूल
अस्पताल भी वही।
तो पूरे अब म्यूनिसिपैलिटीज ऐसे ही बन रही हैं। एक है अलेक्जेंड्रिया ऑटवा के पास, वहाँ पर वो हिस्टोरिकल म्यूनिसिपैलिटी है। अब काफी ग्रोथ, वहाँ एयरपोर्ट है, हॉस्पिटल है, वीआर रेल है, ये सब है, मगर अब लोग नहीं है। तो मेयर हमारी वो रोज मेयर से एवरी अदर फ्यू डेज वी टॉक कि how quickly can we develop this and how quickly can you build the next one
and how quickly can you bring people
or people to I don't know say well let's put I'm look at we're building 100 homes, there's 200 names on it already, because there's people in Montreal and Ottawa, even in these municipalities people can't afford it,
right?
So they need to, when people are retiring, their wealth creation was their house. So when they bought their house for 200,000 selling for 2 million, this is the money they're going to retire on, but they want affordable, right? And they want quality of life and independent retirement.
Exactly.
Says we're living longer and healthier.
Exactly.
Right. So this is what we're doing, not only with our Canadian investors but also with our international partners.
अजीज साहब, हमने सुना है कुछ अर्सा कबल आपने एक तो रियल एस्टेट की बात हो गई, उसका आपका एक्सपीरियंस, कैपिटल एंड फाइनेंशियल मार्केट्स का एक्सपीरियंस। हमने सुना कुछ अर्सा कबल आपने दुनिया की जो बेहतरीन यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं उसमें से एक यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ टोरंटो, यूएफटी जिसे कहते हैं, वहाँ से आपने लॉ डिग्री भी हासिल की। ये कोई नया शिफ्ट है करियर में? क्या फ्यूचर प्लान्स क्या हैं आपके?
नहीं, फ्यूचर प्लान तो ये हमारा वो हमेशा रियल एस्टेट में रहेगा।
ओके,
ये कह सकते हैं।
बट बिकमिंग अ लॉयर एज वेल,
नहीं,
in addition to all these,
my philosophy is this: continue to educate and learn. Right? Never stop doing. I love. I have a strong passion for learning, a strong passion for work, and my entire team is the same way. We have highly educated people that are part of our team. They're passionate. We enjoy our office culture, what we do. And for me, it was really driven by, I can say my mom. My mom always said, you have to stop and do this because you can continue. And my philosophy is, it's not always about numbers.
Exactly.
Right? Numbers are just numbers, right? Whether it's numbers in your bank account or numbers, they will always continue.
Exactly.
Infinity. So you really need to not chase numbers and chase quality of life and enjoyment and passion. My passion was always law. I spent a lot of time dealing with lawyers on Bay Street over the course of my career, whether it's drafting and agreements and contracts and negotiating throughout my career. So this was something that I promised my mom that I would do, and she passed away and a couple of years ago, and one of the first things I wanted to do was fulfill my obligation. And I had a strong support from my family at home, my wife, my daughter, and she is involved in archery and at a national level. And so my wife, she was not only running her business, but at the same time driving around the U.S., flying to the U.S. and Ireland, these places. And it was a sacrifice, but
and you have all the support for them.
I had the full support. We support each other in our businesses and in our family life. My daughter picks up on these things, and really the idea, what I want to also show is young people that there is no age is just a number.
Exactly.
Right? You have to follow your dream and your passion, and don't be afraid of taking the risk. For me, it was a 2-year course condensed into one because I just wanted to get it through, and inshallah I'll be pursuing my PhD at UFT as well, and it'll be a combination between securities law and business, and I've been dialoguing with the school, and I have a passion to deliver a message that I inshallah intend on doing. So this is what I always wanted to do.
Never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Keep learning. Have fun. Whatever you do, you gotta have fun. You gotta enjoy life, and the numbers will always follow you.
Exactly. Right? As they say, do what you love what you do. Right?
Exactly.
बहुत शुक्रिया आसिफ साहब, आज बहुत मजा आया, अच्छी बातें हुई और काफी सारी इंडस्ट्रीज का जिनका आपका सारा तजुर्बा भी है उनके ऊपर हमने सारा अहाता किया.
It was truly an honor and pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
बहुत शुक्रिया.
I loved it.
नाज़रीन, प्रोग्राम से सऊद ज़फ़र को इजाज़त दीजिए. हमें आप रब्ता कर सकते हैं, हमारी सोशल मीडिया वेबसाइट्स के एड्रेसेस आपको स्क्रीन पर नज़र आ रहे होंगे. सऊद ज़फ़र को इजाज़त दीजिएगा. अगले प्रोग्राम में फिर किसी और एक ज़बरदस्त मेहमान के साथ आपके सामने हाजिर होंगे। तब तक के लिए इतना बहुत ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह ने के बाद।